Good evening. Martin's got the wrong thumbnail up there, Martin. Johnny
yes,
Bairstow
I have, but
Johnny Bairstow should be on there. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another exciting edition of Talking Cricket. I have got stats coming out of my ears tonight after what we witnessed at Trent Bridge for the 5 days. Was absolutely fantastic. So we'll get to that in a minute. A couple of bits of housekeeping. If you are watching on YouTube, please do hit the like button. Please do hit the subscribe button if you're not a subscriber. Also, we've got a Talking Cricket Twitter page, which has gone over 200 followers now. So at one Talking Cricket on Twitter, give us a follow. And yeah, that is about it. Tonight, we are a little bit short-handed, but joining me will be the wonderful Rob. He's padded up. He's ready to go. And there he is. Good evening, Roberto. How are we?
Very well. Very, very well. Good to see you, mate.
You've got to do a lot of talking tonight because normally there's like 4 or 5 of us and we can just sort of share it round. But
yeah, I don't normally get a word in edgeways, mate. So happy days. Bring it on.
How are you?
Yeah, brilliant, mate. Brilliant. Didn't have to cut it too short. The under-13s of Foxton were too scared, so they conceded to us. So I'd love to say I've spent the last couple of hours swatting up and trying to get better stats than you. But we'll have a stat off later, mate. See how we get on.
Well, we've got so many stats from this. So just what did you make of this test match, Rob? Because you've said before about the T20 games, like the IPL, we said a couple of shows ago, you can watch it, 160, plays about 130, game over. This test match showed why test match cricket is the best form of the game. And Kevin Peterson on about franchising cricket. I know I see Ian tweeting nearly every day. He's talking nonsense. What did you make of it?
Mate, I mean, where to start? What a game! One of the great games, and it's one of those things where having like Sky or whatever, just the phone generation now, where you can just watch those highlights and just watch it over and over again. I must have watched Tuesday probably 5 or 6. I watched the hour long, and then you just watch the 15 minutes straight after because it's on, and then you watch that, and then you're down the ground at Haverhill, and someone's got it on the phone, and you watch it again, and it was just one of those brilliant. You know, it'll be there with the Stokes at Headingley, won't it, in the World Cup final? Well, this will be watched to death, and why not? Because it went both ways. It went to the absolute. After 2 days, it was like this is a ball draw, and then the way England have batted and gone at like well over 4 and over. Well, both teams went at over 4 and over the whole game. Yeah. England going at 5s throughout. I said it, the McCullum era, they got chance, they give them chance by batting so well in the first dig to get near parity, and then went hard at it, aggressive fields, to take the wickets, and then we all know what happened on Tuesday, don't we?
Yeah, getting to Tuesday, this is going to be one of my biggest sporting regrets because I went to Wolves to watch England obviously play Hungary. Look, I'd already got tickets. I was already driving some people, so I couldn't really get out of it. Because I was off Wednesday, Rob. And I live about an hour and 10 minutes from Nottingham. Easy to get to. And then when I heard that they're going to give 17,000 tickets away, a little bit inside of me died because I thought, I want to be there. Then driving up to we're driving up to Wolves on the radio, and I'm thinking, and then we know what happened in the football. But yeah, it was fantastic, wasn't it, Trent?
Yeah, I was going to say,
what do you reckon? 5,000 or 6,000 probably on that last day.
What were there?
No, probably if you'd have had to paying if you'd have said normally. Yeah,
no, you're right. I reckon it's hard to say. You wonder how many locals might have rocked up for a 5 or a 10 at lunch or at tea or whatever. I was tempted massively, but just with my job, mate, it's never going to be a thing. I was at an under 14s game at Saffron Walden on Monday night, and I said to people around me, I said, it's free. It's like, just everyone's just everyone's tempted, and so gutted that it was never on the cards. But I managed to sneak a bit at lunchtime, and then after school it was on straight away.
Gone by about 8 o'clock that evening, didn't they? On the Monday evening, I think they'd all literally gone, the whole lot of them.
It was just a shame, though. You could see seats. You wonder if people snapped them up and just sort of thought, because it wasn't full, was it? But
no,
pretty much.
It was great because I was watching some of the BBC highlights, and there was Tuffers. interviewing some people who look first time at a test match, first time at a cricket match.
Yeah.
Alistair Cook actually said on Test Match Special he'd sign any kids their letters if they wanted to have a day off school. It's things like this that you'll remember, like I said just there, Rob, that people have never been to a game of cricket.
Yeah.
They need to realise it's not always this good. But it's if they go, you want them to go back now, don't you? Because with this new, look, we said it was a Red Bull reset when it was in the Windies. Now McCullum's come in. It's going to be exciting all the way, isn't it? With the Stokes McCullum team, I think.
Yeah, so much so that all those people who got a free entry must be a bit narked because it was an early finish, wasn't it? They did it with 20 overs to spare.
I don't think we ever thought. It's interesting because I was reading. It was last year, wasn't it, when we played them at Lords and they set us. It's about 270, wasn't it, in 75 overs, and we crawled to 170 and just didn't even go for it. And I know it was probably a difficult wicket there. We got a little bit lucky because Jameson was obviously out. He'd hurt his back, so they were a bowler light. But to win it with 299 for 5 in exactly 50 overs. Look, 50 over game, you're chasing 300, no problem. But when you're doing that in a test match, and when you lose them 50 for 3, 92 for 4, then you're probably thinking, normally you go back in your shell, you think, right, handbrake on, we'll take the draw, we're 1-0 up. But it's refreshing to hear Stokes basically saying, we're going for a win. It's win or lose.
Yeah, the interview, the stuff with McCullum in the change rooms a couple of minutes before going back out was, do your thing, go out and win it, but we all back you. And then the next man, if it doesn't happen, don't worry about it. Next man will come in and do his thing. So just full belief. I mean, the thing is with McCullum, I'm absolutely waxing lyrical about the guy. I think he's absolutely brilliant because the way he's coaching and, a little nod back to Shane Warne, who always said he didn't need a coach, is that it doesn't... It just looks like McCullum just sits on the balcony and just. Did
he sit? Was it Saturday? Did you see him when he was literally laying down?
Yeah, he just sits on the balcony all day, doesn't he? Just emitting vibes, and people just want to just hang with him and just go and have a sit with him, and that's all that he appears to have done so far. But I'm okay with it.
It's the positivity, isn't it? He's just instilled in the team. Look, I've got Alex Leeds down here, right?
Yeah.
West Indies. If anyone in the chat wants to come on, I think mine has dropped a link or he's going to drop a link on because there's only us two. If you want to come on and have a chat and give us your thoughts, it'd be brilliant to get you involved. Going back to Leeds, West Indies tour, Rob, he was in there and he was a bit like, I know he'd just come in. It was his debut, so he's going to be a little bit nervous.
Yeah.
He's won 19 boundaries in this test match.
Good stat, mate. 1-0.
He couldn't get it off the square, could he?
I think he was in the Windies. We rated him, didn't we? He got he never got more than 30, but we always give him a 6, didn't we? Because he was either laying a platform, and he batted 30 overs to 30, which did a job compared to us being 20 for 2 every time. But also there was that dig where he just went in and had a go early on, didn't he, to try and up the ante? So he's been bubbling under a little bit, and like I said, McCullum, Stokes, they've backed him a bit, lots of other, he's playing in England, which helps. He got some runs in the in the championship. And I think he feels loved and he's just gone out there and batted. And I think 67, but 2 good knocks this test, but hopefully there's a big daddy around the corner.
Yeah, I think that's the next sort of where he wants to go next. If he can nail that ton, he should have got 100 in the first innings.
Yeah.
I think he's probably going to be sitting there Saturday afternoon while Root and Pope were knocking it to all corners of Trent Bridge, thinking that should have been me out there because you get 67. The wicket, look, I thought it was a decent wicket, Rob. I thought there was a little bit in it. It was a bit of pace, bit of bounce.
Yeah, there was pace and bounce. There wasn't too much sideways, but it was just very true, wasn't it? The amount of times where team gets 550 and then it's the game, and unless they bowl us out for 350 and make us follow on, not that anyone does that anymore. But if that's the only way that can go,
Ian, if you want to come on, press that link. He's in the chat there. Ian, I thought he was playing 2020 tonight, Rob. He must have finished early. Parkinson, there he is. Look, what did he say? Where's the fat, good-looking lad who bangs on about? Yeah, unfortunately, Parkinson's been. They've moved him out, haven't they, for the last test?
Yeah,
he's out the squad. But so yeah, we'll go back to Friday. Obviously, Stokes won the toss and. probably 50-50, wasn't it? Bat or ball.
Yeah.
As if by magic, he appears.
Good evening, Britain.
Good evening.
I'm at. I'll just pan round if I can. Where we've played tonight is Stonyhurst College, which is just outside of Clitheroe. Absolutely wonderful facility. That is the backdrop. I'll do a little bit of a live sort of video thing. The pavilion is a listed building, and it's absolutely wonderful. So we're just leaving the ground. I just thought I'd drop in and say hello.
What's it like in April there?
I wouldn't know. Dark.
Ian, I reckon you've won tonight, haven't you?
We have actually. It was a very, very close game, and there was some hospitality after.
Get a few in?
Food and not alcoholic drinks, but food. It was a Blackburn Diocese game versus the Lancashire Union of Mosques. So it was, sorting that little problem out through the power of cricket.
You got forfeit at the weekend, didn't you? Forfeit on Saturday.
Yeah, I can hardly walk though, so I had to bowl off 2 paces tonight.
And before, I don't know how long he's staying, but I'll just tell Rob. Ian messaged me Saturday afternoon. So the number 11, he had to go early, didn't he?
Yes, yeah,
So
that's right. We batted at 3.
He batted at 3. How long did he stay in? Because he was in for a little while.
He was, and he's got the sort of got 2 shots really. He's got the block and the miss, and they were performed equally well.
So before you go, what did you make of the Test match? Because I do recall you saying on Tuesday, no chance of win. I actually thought it'd be a draw. I thought England, no.
I think on the last pod, I think we both said we both fancied New Zealand for a victory, but and at 5:50 in the first dig, I think we were both probably sitting there quite smug. But that's the power of Test cricket. It was, I mean, I've never seen hitting like it. Absolutely wonderful. Maybe both. Obviously, a man of my vintage takes me back to both of them in '81. But we've all had a little bit of a sort of a question mark over Johnny Bairstow, but he came good. But there were so many people that chipped in, so it's a wonderful performance on a pretty flat deck.
Your mate Leach.
Well, I don't think there was much in it for him in the wicket, and yeah, they did. Listen, there other options are available in the spin department.
Quickly, Rob.
Yes, mate.
While we've got Ian here, what are you giving Leach out of 10? Me? Yeah.
Well, he did go for under the general economy of the game, so I'll give him got picked up a few wickets. I'll give him a 4.
Spot on. That's what I give him. You can't give him any more. Do you think they'll pick a spinner for Leeds, Ian? Because obviously the Overton twins are both in.
They might. I'm not too sure, actually. I mean, I think as we said on the last show, it depends how Headingley's going to deteriorate. If it's going to be, worth having a spinner in the 4th innings. I'm not too sure. Obviously, they're braced well, and he went round the park a little bit, didn't he? At Trent Bridge, but we knew it was going to be a fairly true wicket. Depends what sort of wicket is prepared and how and what sort of weather we get before then.
Pretty dry.
There's a little bit of time between.
It's going to be dry.
Pretty dry at the moment.
So he's Bracewell actually. Ian's only been bowling spin for 2 years. They were saying he used to be a wicket keeper. There's no room in the team for you as a wicket keeper. Can you please improve your spin bowling? And now he's got COVID. Now he's got COVID, and Conway's got COVID as well.
Yeah, I think if Johnny Bairstow is going to slap everybody around the park like that, and Stokes, I think there might be a few that are taking a lateral flow. No, that is unfortunate. Listen, because we want it to be a fair. We want it to be good, exciting Test cricket, which of course it has been. So yeah.
Look, I think it always is with New Zealand guys. When we play them, it's always played in a really good spirit, and it's always exciting. I think, look, we've obviously got McCullum now, but when he took over the captaincy, they were struggling, and he brought them up. So I think the next test, I think it'll be, look, England are 2-0 up. We could quite conceivably be 2-0 down. Let's be realistic about it. It's great that we've won these 2 test matches. They could quite have easily gone the other way, Rob. I know you're quite smug sitting there because you did actually predict 3-0 to England. So you're the only one on here who looks like you could be correct.
Mate, I think I could be right on all 3 fronts. I've also got Jimmy as leading wicket taker and Stokes for the runs. He just needs to get lots, haven't he? But yeah, now coming back to what about the spinner? I think if it is that dry,
I've played against this guy at Haverhill.
Good bowler.
Ben Wilkins in the
Good
comments.
bowler.
He is a good bowler.
Very good bowler. Doesn't spin it, but bowls good areas. He is completely right about his own fitness, though. Absolutely right. Nickname Big Juicy says it all. Good bowler. First team captain. I could be in a lot of trouble.
Or are you going off?
No, we're gonna have to drive off now. I thought I wasn't gonna sort of butt into your conversation, which I was enjoying thoroughly. I just thought I'd drop in and say hello.
I know Brandon's under the thumb now, everybody. Brandon, if nobody knows in the chat, has got engaged. I think he's out for a meal tonight, but he might, if we're still going after 10, he might appear because he wanted the link. He's sticking up for Zach Crawley, Ian. He's sticking up for him. He says he got 2 good balls. I said he got 1 good ball, and the one in the second innings, he should have left it.
The second innings, I think. Listen, it's a weakness, isn't it? I think for Crawley, I think he needs to play that better. I think he needs to work with the coaches and play.
You just bowl it on that 5th stump all the time, and you're in the game.
Yeah, but he goes hard at it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He needs to. He needs to leave the ball alone. I mean, it's we have seen.
Can you actually write him off? Can you actually write Zach Crawley off because you did say Ollie Pope? He got 100. So I think if you say Zach Crawley, this is his last test match. He's guaranteed to go and get 100.
Well, there is that. I mean, I did say that if Pope didn't have a good series, then it would be the end of his career. I think he tuned in, watched the show, and I think that spurred him on. I can't prove that, of course. But what I would say to Brandon is congratulations, but getting engaged in the cricket season, that's a schoolboy error, son. I mean, do that in October and then you can go out on the anniversary and you're not missing any cricket. So, yeah, that's just silliness. But good luck to him.
There you go.
Good luck to the future, Mrs. Brandon.
Definitely wise words there, Rob.
Indeed, yeah. No.
Anyway, thanks for joining in, Ian, and we'll see you. We'll probably do one next week. We'll probably look at the Netherlands series.
Yeah, well, Jez is flying to the Netherlands on Sunday, and he's hoping to see the 3rd of the one-dayers. So,
cracking forecast tomorrow. I think rain. They said on Sunday. Not sure about the game on Wednesday, so he might be in luck. I think he'll see a few runs. Hopefully, we want to see England winning the tosses in them games, don't we?
Absolutely.
Line up the runs. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon, mate.
Cheers,
See you soon.
See you, mate.
There you go. It's great, wasn't it?
No harm.
Just on a different note, I want to give a big shout out, Rob, to the England deaf team and the England learning disability side, who both done what the England men's team couldn't do. They won the Ashes. Well done, lads.
Good shout, mate.
Brilliant. Anyway, so New Zealand 5-5-3. Obviously, we had a bit of trouble in the slips, didn't we? And dropped a few catches after basically catching everything, didn't we? At Lords,
Lords.
We couldn't not. But I was watching something. The ground fielding was a little bit slack. There was a couple of times there, Rob, when Stokes wasn't. He's not short of giving someone a bit of a rocket.
Yeah, I think a bit of a gaze and stuff that does enough, doesn't it? But people, mate, no one drops catches on purpose. No one bowls it halfway down the wicket on purpose. These boys will be preparing as best they can, and it's split second, in the moment sort of stuff. And like you said, they caught so well at Lords that
it was both teams. It was both teams. I think 12 catches. 12
It might be the ground. The crowd, the way it is, that it's a bad catching ground. That is a thing.
I think the Joe Root one where he dropped Mitchell, it dipped. If you watch Tom Blundell, their wicket keeper, he was having a lot of trouble with that sort of wobble when it was sort of coming to look. On another note, Ben Folkes,
class,
best wicket keeper by miles, Rob.
Yeah, just on that route one, I've been on the pitch at Trent Bridge, and the square honestly is a foot higher when they run up. They've got that many tons of loam on it, so where Root stood, he's a foot lower than where the deck is, and it was second ball of the day, and you just wonder if he wasn't quite on it, still singing Jerusalem or whatever. So that might have been a factor. Well, sorry, mate. Back to Folkes. Yeah, class. We know that. Everyone knows that. I'm massive fan of that.
He's getting a long run now. He's getting a little bit more confidence. He's obviously. I was watching him Saturday there, where he batted with Root, didn't he, near the close, and he was a little bit playing second fiddle. But he came out Sunday, obviously, and he playing his shots. And it's a bit of a shame that sort of Pop sold him down the river. I think he was trying to get him off the mark, wasn't he, in Test cricket, and he was looking good there. It's going to be interesting, Rob, going forward. At the minute, we've probably got the worst tail since when we had Mullally
in the 90s.
Yeah. So I know what you say. Don't worry about the bowlers. The batsmen are there to get the runs, which is fair enough. It is fair enough. But Folkes is probably going to have to find a way how to play with the tail maybe there a little bit, because
maybe his main job is to bat with whoever's in at the time, because he's going to be batting one of the top six. That's probably more important. He's probably going to take up more of his time. I think the way it looks like they'll go is whoever is with, they'll give him they'll take every run until it gets to 11. I think until it's Jimmy, they'll just they'll take every run.
The Bernie Lara pulling out the reverse sweep.
Mate, he does it every time, doesn't he? He always nails one and then gets
so obvious. It's coming. And then bang. But I think they
didn't waste any time.
He's going to come and join us, Rob. I think we've got Colin coming in to join us.
Colin?
Yeah, I think he's here. Martin's just messaged me. If he might appear in a minute, we'll just keep talking. There he is. Good evening.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Yeah,
had a few technical problems tonight. I had to go and sign into Google and all that. You know what I mean? So
I had that as well. Don't worry. I don't think it's you. Just everybody.
Oh, you had that as well, did you, mate?
Yeah. Pressed a couple of buttons, and there I was. So, what did you make of it, Colin? One of the best you've seen?
Quite honestly, like the football, Rich. I've been thinking about this over the last couple of days. Like the football, go back a bit and all that. And I'll tell you, you go back like to the 81 Headingley Test and all that. I mean, did I ever think at the time I'd ever see anything, to rival that? And, we've seen several things since, haven't we, in recent years. Like you said about the World Cup final and everything, Rich. And you're quite right.
That's interesting you say that, because I was listening to Ben Stokes and he said this tops Headingley 2019 and the World Cup final. He said this tops them two games. And you look at them two games, Rob, the Headingley game, obviously, with Leeds there at the end when they needed 70 to win, and then he just started smashing sixes all over the place. And look, the World Cup final, a game like that we will never see anything like that again. So to say that trumps them two, I think that's a really, really big statement.
That's a big statement, yeah.
Massive.
I think, like I said at the start, I think that it will end up being one of those games that's replayed and replayed and replayed until it's getting that amount of traction of those other games as well. So, yeah, it is right up there, and that's why we're on here tonight to celebrate it, and that's why people need to take that feel-good factor and go and watch cricket and go and watch the Championship and the Blast, and get down your local club and play and get involved as well.
Did you think we were going to get these runs, Colin? Did you think, watching that on Tuesday afternoon, when we were 92 for 4, like I said to Rob, under the probably other captains, I won't say Joe Root, but I think under probably Cook and people before him, you'd have put the handbrake on and you'd have say, right, 1-0 up in the series, we'll take a draw. We had we didn't take a backward step there. We just kept going and going and going, didn't we?
Yeah, I just think that years ago we would have done that 100%. We would have just like played for the draw, and what have you. But under this new regime, we're just going for it. And I agree with what you said this morning, Rich. I mean, this afternoon. Yes, I do think. Once or twice, will probably finish up in car crashes. If you're playing that type of game, I totally agree with you, Rich. If you're playing that type of game, it looks absolutely superb, fantastic. Call it what you will when it goes right. When it goes wrong, it can look awful. But let's go with the ride. That's all I say. Yeah. I'll tell you what. I'm just going to pull these curtains because I think I'm getting a.
Don't worry, we'll keep chatting. He's totally right there, though, isn't he, Rob? Because
that's
I
right.
think we have to just go with this, because you see Stokes in that first innings when he had a little bit of an escape off Bairstow, didn't he? Then the next ball he's planted him back over his head in the stands for 6, and then he's got out. But I think you're just going to have to suck it up and say, this is how we're going to play. Because Colin's right there. This is fantastic when it goes right. But there will be times when you'll sit there watching it and you'll be hiding behind the sofa thinking, this is a car crash waiting to happen. But I think this is the way we're going to play. So I think we're just going to have to accept it when it goes wrong. Hopefully it goes right more times than it goes wrong.
Yeah, it's fine. And I just think getting away from the sort of drab era of just scoring at two runs per over and then it's a draw, and it's just Seamer's an England bowl, and then you drag it out and the spinner might have a little bowl on day 5 and then it's a draw. Get rid those days. This new brand of cricket, I think, is what people are excited about, and it's what cricket needs to be. I think Australia sort of brought it in, didn't it, with the Gilchrist era? The Aussie side with Gilchrist at 7. They won games. They didn't draw any games, and there is a chance that they might lose the odd one. We turned them over in 05 and they had a pretty good side, but we played a decent brand of cricket then too. You've got to live by the sword, die by the sword. You've got to take, you got to take a punt now and again. So
I totally agree with you there. And it's like we've said before, and here, you've got the 100, you've got all these other things, and Test cricket's took a bit of a sort of a back seat, hasn't it? And it did with obviously we put all them eggs in the basket to win the World Cup. Fair enough, we won the World Cup, but now this could be, Colin, the rebirth of England as a Test nation. It might go spectacularly wrong at Headingley. So what if it does?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, as we speak, I mean, even if it goes spectacularly wrong at Headingley, which we obviously don't want it to happen. I mean, we've won the series anyway, but I mean, that's a negative way of looking at it. I mean, from my point of view, that's a negative way of looking at it. I mean, if we continue like along the lines that we've done in the first couple of tests, I must admit, I can only see us winning 3-0 now. There's so much confidence going through those players' veins in that dressing room right now. I mean, how would you feel if you was New Zealand right now? You put on over 500 in the first innings of the second test and lost. Now there's only, I think Rich will definitely correct me if I'm wrong, I think there's only 4 teams have actually done that before.
I know England was one of them in Adelaide, wasn't it, Rob? When we were out there when Freddie was captain.
Not completely sure. I'll take your word for it, mate.
He was captain and we declared in it. This is the highest scoring Test match, Colin, in run 1,675. The highest before this was 1,447 in 2019 with India, South Africa. How many boundaries, Rob, in the Test match?
Oh, I mentioned it Tuesday night, mate. I don't know, 126.
249. Who would want to be a bowler on? It's a funny sort of ground, Trent Bridge, isn't it? Size-wise, you've got that short boundary. If you're sitting in there, Rob, and you've got a ticket, You've got to keep your eye on that ball all the time, especially when Bairstow was just...
Yeah, or on day one when the ball gets hit into your pint.
Right, I want to talk to you about that. So we've had COVID. We've had wiping the ball. No one can touch it. You're not allowed to use saliva. The ball goes in someone's pint, a cider. It's a pint of cider, apparently, and they bought her a new... She got 2 pints out of that. Did you know that?
That's right, I did. Yeah, mate.
How come they didn't change the ball?
I can't answer that. I cannot answer that, mate.
Rich.
This is why we love cricket, because you have things like this happen. And it's funny, though, saying about changing the ball, Rob, I've not seen in 2 test matches teams trying to get the ball changed as many times as they do nowadays.
The umpires had a very busy ring piece, didn't they?
Yeah, he got his ring piece out.
But Rich, can I just say they did say on commentary that if the ball goes underneath the covers, it gets changed.
Well, I don't know, a bit of cider on the ball. Obviously, it was didn't help the bowlers, did it really? Daryl Mitchell didn't mind it because he just kept plonking Leach. He gave him a couple of 3-6s, didn't he? What did you think of Jack Leach, Colin? Come on, be honest. You've seen a lot of spinners down the years playing for England. Where would he rank? Where would he rank?
You know, when you think back to even like as far as I can remember Underwood, but bowling with Ray Illingworth, and in tandem, and then obviously, in times which are not far gone. I mean, obviously, the Swan era and all that kind of thing, and then before that, Toughers and whatever. Look, however much I want him to succeed, I just don't. I can't see it happening, Rich. I really can't.
Interesting, Rob. I listened to. I think it was a TMS podcast. It might have been the Michael Vaughan and Toughers podcast on Spotify. So the number of balls they were on about how many Jack Leach has bowled in his career. Michael Vaughan, at the same age, had bowled more balls, and he was a part-time spinner. Now, Jack Leach needs to bowl, right, to get better. Obviously, if you keep bowling, you're going to obviously improve. But I don't know with him because I watch him, I see him bowl. Do you remember Shane Warne, Rob, saying, what did he say about Monty? 37 tests.
He's played 36 tests, but he's played the same test 36 times.
I see the same with him. I see the same with Leach. He bowls the same place on the wicket, same pace. And for test class batsmen, you just get yourself set and you think, right, I'll have this. Mitchell down the ground, bang, couple of reverse sweeps away. Conway, when he was in second in, he must be kicking himself all the way to the pavilion, Conway, because he was milking him, wasn't he? I think 3 or 4 reverse sweeps he nailed for 4. And then I don't know what he was doing. He's tried to hit him and he's got caught on the boundary by Johnny Bairstow. But 2 for 140 and 1 for 86. And day 1, day 2, Rob, obviously with a spin, there's not a lot in the wicket. He needs to be able to play that holding role.
Yeah, he maybe needs to go over the wicket, bowl at the pads for a bit, just maybe tie an end up, or perhaps change his angle on the, use the crease a bit more, change his pace a little bit more, bit of a funky field, put 3 guys on the drive or something, just be a bit inventive. But like you said, I completely agree. Same ball, boring. Just, completely agree.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if we go without a spinner at Headingley.
No, I can see it because I just think with the weather now, it's so hot. I mean, that pitch, they may well soak it, but it's if you look at it from the other point of view, the Kiwis haven't got a spinner either, unless they bring in Patel back maybe, but he got savage, didn't he? It might just be that our mediocre spinner is slightly less mediocre than your mediocre spinner. So it is that holding role. It could be day 5 that he wins the game. We might even bat first. You never know. I
always see him when he was bowling on days 1 and 2 there. He'd bowled 2 or 3 good balls. There's always that release ball, Colin, somewhere in that over, and it gets hit for 4. He needs to go at probably 2.5, 3 and over. That's his job in the first innings of a game. Keep it tight, maybe pick up the odd wicket here and there. But it's just money for old rope when I see him bowling, Colin. I think these players, they know he's not turning the ball a lot. Just sit in, wait for the bad ball, hit it to the boundary.
Yeah, well, I totally agree with you. I mean, yeah, you talk about Mitchell, and he was nailing him all over the place. And I mean, I suppose at the end of the day, he can thank his lucky stars that Ben Stokes don't play for New Zealand, because my God, I think you'd be taking a few out of Trent.
He'd fancy a bit of him, wouldn't he, if he was bowling against.
I'll tell you what. Talking about Ben Stokes, Rich, and we didn't talk about this. I mean, obviously, there's been so much to talk about this Test match. But one thing that we haven't spoken about this last couple of days is, what about that 6 that Ben Stokes hit? What nearly went onto the 4th tier?
Off Bairstow.
How big was that? I mean, that was crazy, wasn't it? Absolutely crazy.
It's just the sound off his bat, Rob, when he absolutely nails it. And this is cricket nowadays. It's the clean striking that I remember when I was younger and I watched cricket, and you'd see a 6 hit and you think, oh, brilliant, they've hit a 6.
1-6. Yeah.
Now it's just so easy for them, isn't it?
Yeah, bigger bats and all that.
Yeah.
And stronger rig. They're more muscly than maybe they used to be. And yeah, all the factors. Yeah, it's good to see. I was at Trent Bridge for the World Cup. It was West Indies against Pakistan. Pakistan all out for like 95.
I went to that game.
I was in that. I was in that stand, and that's a bloody long way away. It's a shame they haven't got that fantastic IPL graphic that shows you how far the 6 went. Hey.
I went to that game at Trent Bridge. I went to England, Pakistan, Trent Bridge, and I went to West Indies v Australia. What's the guy who got the great catch? Shannon, was it Cottrell, who used to do the salute?
Yeah, Cottrell, yeah.
Everyone on the boundary. Unbelievable. I would say, Rob, that's probably my favourite test ground, Trent Bridge.
I can't look past Lords, mate, I'm afraid.
I know what you mean. Look, Lords, look, the history.
Lords.
I put into like getting to the ground as well because it's easy.
Yeah, agreed.
Parking, atmosphere.
Yeah,
you're there. Right, Colin, we'll let you go. Thanks for joining us, mate, and we'll speak to you soon. He's gone. That's him gone. So right, we'll go now. Oh, he's back. We will go on to our ratings, Rob.
Yeah.
We'll let you start because it's only me and you. Brandon might be here if we hang on a little bit longer, but
we could go quicker. It's really up to you.
We can do whatever you want. Hang on.
6, 7, 8. No, I'm joking. Bring it
Gus says all 10s. Right. Go for it.
Okay, Lee, 67 and 40. Set the tempo, didn't he?
Yeah.
I'll give him a 7.
Agreed. 7.
Agreed,
We'll do
7.
it like that. We'll do it like that. I'll give mine.
Are we doing ABBA? Like the penalty shootout in the Johnson's paint?
I don't know if they do that now, do they?
But you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do know what you mean. Zach Crawley. I'm giving him 4 and a duck. So I was speaking to Brandon earlier. He reckons he got 2 good balls. I thought he got a really good ball in the first innings, and he couldn't do a lot about that. I thought the ball in the second innings, I thought if he's in form and he knows where his off stump is, well, it's probably on 5th stump, like I was saying to Ian. He probably leaves that ball, but at the minute he's out of nick. So I'm going to give him a 2, but I still think they'll stick with him because there'll be an inning soon around the corner when he'll look $1 million and he'll probably go and he'll get a 70 or an 80 and you'll think,
yeah,
what a player.
I'm going to give him a 1.5 and there's no one here to argue with me apart from the boss, but I think 0.5s are allowed today when there's only 2 people on.
How many more games are you giving him?
None. Get Compton in, get the 4-man in, get Compton in. I'm giving him 1. Terrible. But he took a catch, so there you go.
And he dropped 1 as well.
Yeah, okay. Well, I've written down
Catch.
1.5.
Was a good catch.
Yeah.
Good grab. Ollie Pope.
And because I said, I'm sticking 0.5s in, I'm going 9.5.
9.5. Wow.
Yeah. You could argue that he failed in the first dig, but 163 runs.
I did actually pick him as my leading run scorer, didn't I? Look, he looked great, didn't he? He had a little bit of luck, but I think all the batsmen in this, apart from Bairstow in this Test match, who got runs, they all had a bit of luck, all had a life. So when you have that opportunity and someone drops you, you've got to go and fill your boots.
Yeah. So
he gets an 8 from me. Still a little bit outside that off stump. I'd still fancy my chances if I'm bowling. Just hang it out there because I think he's a little bit fidgety sometimes, isn't he? But look, it's great. I loved it when he got that century and he was celebrating. And Joe Root run about 70 yards and he was so happy.
Yeah.
They did say on TMS, he was probably whispering in Ollie Pope's ear, well done, Ollie. That means you can stay at 3 and I'll stay at 4.
And also, it means if him and Leeds are going well, it means he's not going in at 20 for 2, is he? So
exactly.
That's why those other innings have been able to happen, isn't it?
Well, you look how Root run down them stairs when Leeds was out on Saturday morning or Sunday, whenever he came in. He couldn't wait to get out there because he's thinking, I'm coming out and we're not under the pump. The sun's out. It's an hour till
sun's out, runs out.
Exactly. Right, Joe Root, what are you giving him?
9.5.
Yeah, I've given him a 9. I don't really deal in 0.5s, but there is a couple of players I have actually given a 0.5. But he's in the form of his life. He's gone to number 1 in the world.
Absolutely. I've shoved Marnus out of the way. Yeah,
Marnus has gone down to number 2. And I think if you're looking the last 2 years, if you look at it always used to be, didn't it? Joe Root, Williamson, Coley, Smith.
Stat for you, mate. He was 10 hundreds behind them, and now he's caught up.
It does help that we play more Test cricket than anyone else. I do get that, but you still got to go out there and perform.
I think it's not the easiest place to bat on, though, is it? In England, I think
no.
So
swings around. He's averaging, I think, 45 abroad. He was averaging, and people say, "Yeah, but he gets runs at home. He don't score." But like you just said, it's not easy in England. It's not easy on our wickets. But he makes it look so easy. That first innings was probably the best he's batted for ages. And what about the shot? What about the ramp?
I shared that. I showed that one at school.
And have you tried it? Have you tried that in a game?
The reverse one, nets probably. I've done the other. I'll go the other way in it. I'll go over. I like going over fine leg in a game, but I haven't done the reverse one.
Yeah,
I don't wear a lid, mate. So could be.
Yeah, probably anyone out there who is obviously watching Joe Root bat, and you're probably a youngster. You'll be wearing a lid anyway, but probably don't attempt it with a cap on because you'll probably lose your front teeth. The ginger one. He had the eyes, Ben said. Johnny Bairstow.
9.5.
Yeah, again, 9.5 from me.
Again, it's all it is for all 3 of those. It's because they didn't get runs twice, and we're picking at straws because at the end of the day, those 3 innings were absolutely crucial. So you could argue for a 10, you could argue for a 9, but because we won, I've gone 9.5.
So he was on.
Unbelievable.
He was on for that fastest 100, wasn't he? He was on for the fastest 100.
Yeah, he was on for it.
Yes, sir. In 1902.
Yeah,
against Australia at the Oval.
There's some statistics around it, circumstance, where they could have run a 2, couldn't they? But Stokes looked like he was flagging with his knee problem. They probably could have run a 2. I don't think he knew about the record. I hope he didn't care about the record, in honesty, because like you said, he had the eyes on. Just get on with it.
So
just win the game. Win
93
the game.
After T-Rob, he got 93 off 44 balls.
Yeah, well, they didn't bowl well at him. They just kept peppering him with short stuff. But on a good deck like that, when you're in, and it's not a big hit.
What do you think to their tactics, like short bowling?
Well, yeah, completely wrong, wasn't it? They should have mixed it up a little bit. They didn't, you look. Bolt got Crawley with a cutter. He got Root with a slower ball twice. Maybe a couple of slowies at him. Around the wicket, give him one and bowl at Stokes. I don't know. It's hard, isn't it, when they're going full ball like that? But just change it up a little bit. It's easy saying.
Look, to be fair to them, like I said earlier, they were a bowler down with Jameson. Obviously, he's got that height, but they've got no. They're the same as us. They've got no one with that real pace.
No,
Matt Henry, he was banging it in, and they just kept disappearing in the stand.
Well, the argument, the thing with Jofra, isn't it? You talk about having a pace bowler to run and bowl 90 mile an hour, but on the last session on day 5, they're probably pretty cooked by then, aren't they?
True.
So they could have done with a better spinner, I think, but there wasn't much spinner. They haven't got a better spinner, but you think if there's a real class spinner there, that they potentially could have made it very difficult for us. But they were just sort of blinded, weren't they? It was over in and out, and after tea, what was it? 45 runs off the first 3 overs after tea.
Yeah, that set the tone, didn't it? The way they came out, it just went absolutely bananas, and it's that runaway train down the hill. I think New Zealand, once it had gone, and they didn't have any idea how to pull it back, and England weren't going to stop. That was just how they were going to play.
And if you're a Kiwi, you're watching that thinking, they're going to absolutely mash us, but we're sat there thinking, another wicket here, and they're into Potts, Broad. Yeah, so it was.
That's probably what they was at tea when we needed, 160 off, 36, 37 overs?
Yeah.
4 down, they're thinking 2 wickets.
6 out, all out.
Yeah, without tail. So even when they got to 100 England, they're probably still in there 2 wickets away. But look, thankfully it didn't come to that. Ben Stokes, I've given a 9.
Yeah.
Probably 9.5. I'll give him a 9.5. I'll tell you one thing that I was watching on Tuesday morning when he was bowling at Trent Bolt. Now, the old adage used to be, Rob, if you bowl at the stumps, they miss, you hit. There wasn't a ball there that he bowled to Trent Bolt that would have hit the stumps.
No.
And Trent Bolt he hit one like it was a forehand smash down the ground for 4. I love watching him bat. He set the record, didn't he? Highest scorer at number 11.
Yeah.
He's got a great eye. He's got a great eye, but he bats at number 11 for a reason. And when you're telegraphing it a little bit, that he knows where the ball's going. He knows it's not going to be aimed at the stump. So he just gives himself room. And he was just smashing it. And I'm thinking, I think it's 35 they put on, wasn't it?
He bats 8 in the joke. He bats 8 in that joke league in India.
Yeah, he's got a great eye.
A good eye.
He's not the worst number 11 in the world.
I went 9. I agree. 0 for 60 wasn't, nothing to write home about there. So a couple of marks off for that. The 75 and the 46 were unbelievably classy. And positive marks for captaincy. He at the end of the day, he's the rudder of the ship, and he's backed the boys to go out there and do the job. So that's worth a lot, isn't it? It's
great. Look, he's gone under the radar. 75 not out. And we've not really spoke about that innings.
Yeah, well, he got outscored, didn't he? It's like, one, give him the 1, get on with it.
It won't be like that. And he still worries me, obviously, with that knee.
He said it's fine.
He said it popped out, and then after a little while, it pops back in. He knows what he's doing, obviously. Right, Ben Folkes with the gloves.
Oh, impeccable, wasn't he? Beautiful. Like you said before, Blundell struggling. Folkes just melts into the gloves, doesn't it? And I really like his gloves. They're just really like them just plain black gloves. They're beautiful.
Ray Nichols.
And he's got the best teeth in cricket.
He's got the
ugliest bat. Ugliest bat, covered in cherries.
Well, I said on the last pod, they were saying about it on TMS about it's just one of them bats that most batsmen come out, it's a new one or it's lovely and clean. He just looks like he's been on that bowling machine. Cherries all over it.
Mate, I reckon that TMS lot listen to us for content.
They must know what they're on about because they agree with a lot of what we say. Maybe it's the other way around.
Yeah, folks, on the 8, like an 8.5. He's
strong. He's a strong. I've got him down as an 8, but a strong 8, and I really hope that he's going to have a real long run in the team. We're going to see Josh Buttler in the one-dayers coming up in the Netherlands, and We'll talk about that in a little bit. But Folkes deserves a real good run at this now. He showed that he's the best keeper, Rob. We all know that he's the best keeper. Yeah. Obviously, off in the winter, they're off to Pakistan. You'll need the best wicket keeper out there on them wickets. So it's just, can he score that volume of runs? And he got the 30 odd at Lords, not out, helped win the game. 56 here. He got a 12 not out. Yeah, positive going forward. Right, Stuart Broad. Obviously, didn't have the greatest Sunday morning when he woke up and the pub had burnt down.
Indeed.
Oh,
yeah.
Shocking.
Indeed. But, these things happen, don't they? And it'll be insured and they'll go again. And, it's almost like a bit of publicity in a way that people, oh, did he? Oh, okay. And it might be, there's always two sides to everything. It might mean they come out of it stronger. So he's got enough money.
Two for 107 first innings, and then he took 3 for 70. I'll give him a 6.5.
I'll give him a 6. He didn't like the World Cup, did he? He didn't have one of his special overs. He batted okay in the first dig. Just a very broad
wickets there, didn't he? Got a couple of cheap wickets on that 5th morning.
Yeah, just a very broad game.
He does them, doesn't he? He goes under the radar. He'll just get 3 or 4 in a game, and then all of a sudden he'll have one of them spells. Yes, Matt Potts.
2 for 32 in the second inning. Struggled in the first. I'll give him a 5. So slightly worse off than Broad.
I'll give him a 5.5. I'd give him a 6 if he'd have caught that catch.
Yeah.
It was a dolly.
Yeah, drops
a dolly.
Doesn't look like he can bat much. Doesn't look like an 8, does he? So
he's probably, what is he, a 10? Number 10?
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. Jack Leach, we've already touched on him. I'll give him a 4.
Yeah, agreed. I think I said 3 or 4.
And James Anderson, 3 for 62, and very under-bowled in the second innings, Rob. 8.4 overs, and I thought that's a bit strange. 2 for 20. So, 5 wickets there for 82 in the test. I've given him 7.5. You know what you're getting from Jimmy. He doesn't give no runs away. And I loved his spell to Bracewell there when he got him nicked off. He was just hanging it out there, and then bingo, off he went. So 7.5. But how long can he continue?
Oh, years, mate. Years. If he's only bowling 8 overs in the second dig, only playing 6 or 7 games.
Well, true.
Wrap him up in cotton wool and keep him going. I think it's a metaphor. You've got Anderson. I'll give him a 7, 7.5. Broad gets a 6. Anderson is that much better than Broad. That he is decently. He is quantifiably better than Broad. So if one of them goes, I'd rather have Jimmy for all the reasons. But wrap him up in cotton wool. He's fit as a fiddle. He loves the game. Keep him going. I don't care. 43, 40. I don't care. Keep him going. Keep him going.
Yeah.
While in England, while winning games, drip feed these other players in. But until they don't want to play, or until they're not fit enough, or he's taken 5 wickets at like 12 or 13. Where everyone's out
82 in the test. You take that when you every single time. Obviously past 650 now.
Yeah.
On the way to 7. Can he get to 700?
Yeah, I think so.
I think Anil Kumble is the next one.
Mate, I want to see Jimmy chase down Trent and get the number 11 runs. That's what I want to see.
Well,
he's only a few behind.
It's going to be nip and tuck.
It's a good contest. I like it.
But that is that's our ratings done. Any changes for Headingley other than maybe Leach out for one of the Overtons?
Am I allowed to pick my own team?
You can pick whatever you want.
Okay, so if I was allowed, and I'm not, I'm going Compton in for Crawley. Form pick. I'm also going to bring drop Leach, and I'm going to bring in Mo Ali. Because Mo at number 8 looks like a bloody good number 8, and his off spin is tidy.
So he's obviously had the chat with Brendan.
Yeah,
he said Brendan's a very hard man to say no to. I know. Look, they're going to pick their best team, and I do get that. But I was listening to. He was on TMS, and Worcester were playing. They were starting the game, weren't they? Why is he not playing a bit of red ball cricket? Go and get a bit of form. Or doesn't he need to because what he's done before?
Well, mate, he couldn't have played in that game because he's gone to Netherlands, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, he's in the one-day squad. Ah, there you go. That's why he wasn't playing. But should he play some red ball cricket between now and the winter? I think he'll go to Pakistan. I
think he will play, mate. He will. He's
in the
not
test team. Will he play in the test team or will he play for Worcester?
He'll definitely play for Worcester.
Or will he be leaving Worcester and going to Yorkshire? Because he was talking about that on TMS.
I didn't hear such interviews, but all the good Worcester players, you Daryl Mitchell, and a few of them have disappeared. Tom Kohler-Cadmore, Joe Clark. These guys have moved on. Daryl Mitchell, Moeen Ali will get talked about all the time because they're decent players. And these the test counties, particularly Nottingham and Surrey, drive me mad because they just nick everyone's best players.
Yeah, they hoover them up, don't they?
So I would say Mo will be. I agree with Dr. Zach in the chat. Get Mo on the plane to Pakistan and do that spinner rod. I think there'll be 2 or 3 spinners playing. I think Parky will go.
Will Rashid be on the plane?
Possibly, but I think they'll give Parky a go out of due diligence. I think he'll bowl a lot better in when it spins. When he can get a chance to settle into a spell, bowl googlies, bowl toppies, get a couple of boys around the bat. And I think he'll go well, but on an English green wicket, he's not necessarily the way to go. It was just they had to pick him, didn't they? Like for like.
Yeah. I probably agree with that. So moving on, obviously they're in the Netherlands. Start tomorrow, 10 a.m.
Yeah, good.
Three one-dayers: Friday, Sunday, Wednesday. Owen Morgan today, Rob, talking about his future.
Yeah.
He's had a few injuries. Where do you see Owen Morgan going?
I see Owen Morgan playing when he can, when he wants to, because he's got that status for me. He's an absolute legend of the game. What he's done for us in the last 7 years now, going from 0 to winning the World Cup, he deserves a knighthood at some point. Bit like, what the effect that McCullum's had as well, really. Just that leadership, that soft skills, good vibes. For me, he plays as long as he wants, which will be probably until the World Cup, and then some coaching role. I'd have thought Matt Mott will start out, and then get some sort of assistant job, and the job's there. He's his when he wants it. If he wants it, he could end up in the IPL. Who knows? But legend for me. Really turn it round. Huge deal in 2015.
Yeah, so we got the T20 World Cup's October, November, but then it's 16 months to the World Cup in India. I don't know if he'll make that World Cup. He'll definitely play in the T20. But it depends about I think with Morgan, he will know when it's time. He will know if his form's not up to scratch. And I don't think he'll hang around. He'll know when to give it away. He's played enough cricket. He's experienced enough to know when it's time to call it a day. And I think Josh Butler's probably going to be, nailed on. He'll be the next captain, Rob, of the one-day team, I would have thought.
Yeah, I thought so. I'd have thought that's pretty obvious, isn't it? The other one, you could maybe look left field, maybe at Liam Livingston potentially.
Yeah, he's in the squad. We've got a couple of newbies. We've got Payne from Gloucester, left armour, and Wood from Lancashire, left armour. So they'll probably get a go. Matthew Mott, I see his interview on Sky, and he said I think they picked 14. They'll probably all get a game, I would have thought, out there. He's going to.
The thing is with Wood, though, have you seen that Wood hasn't played a 50-over game for 3 years?
But we could go on now. We could go on about the 50-over game in the counties. That's really become a bit of a second 11 competition, hasn't it? The Royal London. I think that's in August this year. But what are we expecting? 3-0 out in the Netherlands if the weather is set fair.
Yeah, 3. I'll go 3-0. I'll go David Milan top runs and Rashid top bowler. Yeah,
I think it'd definitely be 3-0. I'm hoping England win the toss.
Yeah,
in all 3 games. We can put on. I will predict we will score over 400 in one of these games if we win the toss.
Yeah, agreed.
Because they haven't got. I think they're 5 or 6 players short. Who Van der Merwe from Somerset. There's a few of them haven't been released for the counties. Their coach is recovering from a heart attack, so best wishes to him. but it's going to be 3-0 England. I will go leading run scorer, Jason Roy. Leading wicket taker, I will go David Willey, who is on his way back to Northamptonshire next season. 4-year contract. 4-year deal. Interesting.
Yeah,
but yeah, I think other than that, I think that's me done. If you've got anything else, Rob, you want to add?
Nah, good, mate. Just love cricket.
Yeah,
Love
it's
cricket.
great, isn't it? The turnaround. It's fantastic to come on here and talk and be positive, and England winning and young fans getting involved. And this is what we want to continue, don't we, through the summer. Let's win this next test. Then we've got a test against India. South Africa, that'll be a decent series. They've got some good bowlers. I'd expect England to beat South Africa as well.
Yeah,
I think we're going to get on that roll and then head to Pakistan in the winter and let's play Bazball, as they say. Let's play Bazball. That's what they're calling it. The Baz effect. Anyway, thanks for Colin for coming on. Thank you for Ian for coming on from his game of 2020. We will be back next week at some point. We'll do a little, I'll say a short show, Rob, about the T20 at Netherlands. We'll probably still do an hour because we've just done just over the hour tonight. Thank you for everyone who's watching. If you haven't already, please do like the show on YouTube. Please hit subscribe. If you're on Twitter, what is your Twitter handle?
@Devastator.
Give him a follow. Give me a follow. Obviously, everyone knows where I am. @TheCruncher76. @One Talking Cricket is the cricket page. But Brandon, unfortunately, you're too late. And if you want to watch back, Brandon, Ian is giving you some great advice. That is all I'll say. You'll have to watch it to see. Anyway, we will see you all next week. Thanks for tuning in.